Three US Marines have been killed after a military aircraft that they were travelling in crashed. 20 other American personnel survived the crash. 5 were airlifted to the Royal Darwin Hospital and they remain in a very serious condition. Joining me live now is our defence expert, John Blaxland. John, good to see you. In these circumstances, it is quite difficult, and we had you on the program just a couple of weeks ago talking about an Australian aircraft that had crashed during military exercises. Now, these are very different, but are they at all related?
No, I don't think so, Laura. The maintenance regime for the American Ospreys is quite separate from the Eurocopter MRH-90s that Australia that was flying. And of course, the circumstances are also different. We don't know the details of the accident, but the MV-22 Osprey operates with twin rotors. And it's designed to operate as a plane and as a helicopter, and often enough that transition point is a very dangerous one. Now, technologically, the problem was addressed a bit over 20 years ago. They used to have a lot of accidents when it was first being trialled, but they improved the software and some of the hardware and made it much more reliable. So over the last 2 decades, it's been everywhere. It's been the workhorse for Special Forces, for the Marines. Incredibly reliable, incredibly versatile platform that can basically take you like an aeroplane very, very fast over long distances and then become a helicopter and then land on the spot. Wow. Incredible platform. But when you're operating low to ground, if you have a mistake happen or a glitch, you know, with the twin rotors, if one of the engines dies, the second one cuts in. It's got a split-second delay for the cutover for the taking over the machinery to keep the blades turning. But if you are low to ground and if you're travelling at speed, that split second conceivably may well have been just long enough for an accident to happen. And the way the turbulence works is that, you know, normally if you've got one fan stopping to function, it can really very dramatically alter the dynamics and it can flip easily. So it's hard to know exactly what's happened, but they're the dangers with a platform like this that can arise.
It's an incredible aircraft, as you've just explained to us. But so just to clarify, the Osprey has got a very good reputation, the workhorse of the US military, as you say. So it hasn't been one of these aircraft that have had a troubled past or anything like that.
No, not for a lot of years. So, yes, there's been occasional accidents, but relatively speaking, for the volume of traffic, the number of times these aircraft have been operated, it's relatively incredibly low. The challenge is, of course, that they're actually quite hard to maintain. So their maintenance rate is much higher than your standard helicopter because there's so many more moving parts, so many more points of vulnerability, so many more points of tension and potential faults. That they do require a lot more maintenance. So there'll be, no doubt, there'll be an air safety investigation into exactly what happened, whether there was some kind of failure in the maintenance procedures that were implemented beforehand, whether there was a technical glitch, a software glitch, a hardware glitch, and dare I say, potentially human error in the mix as well.
Yeah, right. OK, so what happens now? Investigators are being sent to this remote island. Of course, we've got to think of the 5 servicemen who are still in a very serious condition. But what kind of things will they be looking at?
So they'll be looking for, obviously, the recordings from the computer systems on board, the black box recorders about kind of indicators of the avionics, any kind of indicators of weather or the voice traffic as well, to see whether there was any indications of systemic problems, human error, as I say, software, hardware, and so on. But right now, obviously, the main effort is on recovery of the people, recovery of those who are in hospital being treated, seriously injured, those who are obviously maybe less seriously injured but still pretty severely traumatised by the experience. When these things flip, they can flip, you know, incredibly quickly, and it's very violent movement that can have long-term repercussions as well. But in addition, they'll be cordoning off the area. They'll be looking to get a forensic study done of the site and of the technology and all the details about the aircraft to make sure that they actually identify clearly what exactly the fault is. It might actually be multiple faults, conceivably. And so being able to very forensically go through the evidence and establish what has transpired is really critical for the rest of the fleet, because these are aircraft that have been depended on by the US forces around the world. They're an incredibly capable platform, expensive, as I say, hard to maintain. And so getting it right is critical.